Good morning and welcome to the Forex Daily Update, brought to you by Pepperstone on Thursday the 15th of November 2018. I'm Darren Sinden and you can follow me throughout the day on Twitter by using @ds_Pepperstone. Alright, let's take a look at the overnight changes and price moves to be aware of. It's just after 11:20 here in London, so we're talking about being midway through the London and European session. Two things stand out really. Continued weakness in the euro dollar, the euro slipping against the US currency by another 0.24% over the course of today to trade around 112.8110 shortly before we recorded the video. The big mover though is cable, or the pound sterling in general, but against the US dollar, 127.6410 trading, down by around 1.77% for reasons that will become very apparent later on. The Aussie dollar perking up 0.25% to the good over the course of the day so far. Dollar index trading at 97.35, up by 0.57% on the day, moving well away from that 97.00 figure that it was testing to and through towards the end of yesterday's session. Okay, so what's on the calendar? Events that may move the markets today. We've obviously had quite a bit of data out already. Overnight we've had comments and data from Australia, consumer inflation data, employment change and participation rates. The unemployment rate, perhaps the pick of these, coming in at 5% against market forecasts of 5.1%. We've also had a speech from RBA Assistant Governor DeBell. And from the UK, we've had retail sales, both inclusive and exclusive for fuel for the month of October. They were, it has to be said, a pretty disappointing set of numbers, but there are bigger fish to fry in the UK at the moment, and we'll come on to those shortly. To come at 12:15 GMT, the first of the day's central banker speeches from ECB member Benoit Coeur. He'll be followed onto a rostrum by the Bank of England member Tenreo. We're speaking at 1300 GMT, and at 1310 another ECB banker. This time it's Peter Priet who will be speaking then. At 1330 we'll have retail sales data out of the US for the month of October. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. 0.5 and 0.4% are the forecast figures. And let's see how the American consumer is faring in October. Perhaps the more important figure, though, from the US today is the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Survey, one of these very influential regional Fed surveys, and the Philly Fed very much seen as a leading indicator for the health of the US manufacturing economy. More central banker speeches then from 1500. Fed member Quarles will be speaking first of all. At 1630, it's the turn of a big gun. The Fed Chair Jerome Powell will be speaking, and then at 1800 FOMC member Bostic will also take to the stand. Bit of a significant gap then till 2130, and the final item for today, business PMI out of New Zealand for the month of October. Okay, well, let's take a look at breaking news and comments that caught my eye. There really is only one story today. And that is Brexit. You may recall that a draft Brexit agreement was brought to the UK yesterday. The UK Cabinet had an opportunity to review the proposed deal. Well, this morning 3 UK Cabinet ministers have resigned over Prime Minister May's proposed Brexit deal. Theresa May has been to the House of Commons in the last hour to revealed details of the deal to the UK Parliament. Perhaps the most interesting thing is that she said it's not the final agreement, but merely a stepping stone to that. Opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn has said that the deal does not meet the Labour Party's tests for Brexit. It'd be very interesting to see how the UK Parliament votes. Of course, there's no guarantee that Mrs May will be able to sell this deal to the UK Parliament, and if she can't, there's the potential for a vote of no confidence against her and the possibility of a full-blown general election here in the UK. And on the back of that, the pound sterling has weakened, as we saw earlier, but UK gilts and government bonds, if you prefer, have rallied on the news. That may be a flight to safety rather than any kind of validation from the market as to the terms of the deal, which of course we don't yet know completely because this 585 page document has not been released to the press or the financial markets as yet. Okay, food for thought then, something for you to take into the balance of the trading day and beyond. And really, I've just gone with a screenshot of UK assets today. The cable rate here on an hourly basis, you can see how the news of cabinet resignations and the terms of the deal have been received by the forex markets. With this snapshot of cable, we were looking oversold with RSI ticking down below the 30 level. These are UK gilt yields. 3, 5, 7, 10 and 20-year gilt yields here. Surprisingly, perhaps given the rally, the shorter paper hasn't fallen in price. Some of the longer dated stuff yields have been sliding slightly, and the FTSE 100, of course, the benchmark UK index, typically that would strengthen as the pound falls, but haven't really seen too much of that today. This is a 30-minute chart, and for choice over the course of the latter part of the morning, certainly we've been selling off as a small attempt to bounce the last candle of the chart, but it's hardly convincing, and I think perhaps we'll see more weakness than strength in the short term until there is some certainty about what's happening with the Brexit deal and Mrs May's future. Okay, please take a moment to read the risk warning. Trading CFDs and foreign exchange on margin can be a risky business. If you're in any doubt about those risks or the suitability of leverage products for you, then please do contact your Pepperstone account representative, and do take a moment please to read this risk warning thoroughly. Thank you for your time.